Welcome to the Rise and Above podcast. My name's David Hess, and today I have Richard Prangley with me. Richard had lived a crazy life. He grew up in the Coldwater. It was
Coldwater State Home at Training School.
okay, and essentially it was a prison. He lived there till he was 22. He wrote a book.
I went in there age 6 and got out age 21.
Oh, 21,
May
okay.
17th, 1971.
Okay. He wrote a book about his life. It's called Waiting for a Home. It was written by John Snyder. I recommend ordering it. You can find it on Amazon. Or if you wanted a signed copy, get a hold of me and I will have Richard autograph it and send it out. Without further ado, I would love Richard to introduce himself.
Hey.
How you doing today, Richard?
I'm doing very good. I'm Richard Prangley. I live in Lansing, Michigan. Been in Lansing over about close to 40 years. And then I became a homeowner and I retired from the state of Michigan in year 2009. And then I got my 30 years, and thanks from the help of Governor Milliken, they give me a job working for the state to seek my fortune, how to be able to live a good quality life, becoming a homeowner. And then it's the miracle how I endured the institutionalization for 15 years.
What did you do for the state of Michigan?
I worked in office services in the mailroom, and I was a special worker. That classification was created by Governor Milliken.
Okay.
And he had called director of management and budget and the director of mental health that came. All three of us got together. This Governor Milliken said to Richard to get the job lined up into classification job, working and end up being working in the mailroom, and I made that job for 30 years.
That's amazing.
And then in year 2010, that's when I officially retired.
Okay.
And I'd have been 30 years, I've been the advocate for mental health, going to group home, doing speak engagement, going around the country, telling my story, and it's phenomenal how much people can understand what it's like growing up in these institutions with the public never ever got to see. It is something, there's something unbelievable. They had to live in those horrid conditions.
I was reading your book and I was almost crying because when you had talked about how you were dropped off at the age of 6, and when you were dropped off, or on your way rather, you were kind of excited at first because you were in the vehicle. You love going on car rides. And something about it kind of soothed you.
Yeah, and I remember going down that curved road at entering the Cottage 41, and then I asked my dad when I'm going to go home. He said some days, and that some date that came May 17th, 1971.
Wow. And when did you go into the home? What year?
June of 1956.
Wow. So you're going down this windy road and your parents drop you off, and I also remember you were talking about in the book that you just remember being so scared and frightened about having to be there, and you were standing in the doorway of the cottage and you could see your parents driving off into the distance. What was that like?
It was a scary moment when I was going into a different world from the institutionalization, from the home setting. Yeah, I never got to be, just like being sentenced, incarcerated for 15 years like it what I went through.
And you're a kid, so you don't know how to handle that.
Didn't know how. Oh, I was scared and frightened, got homesickening, and it was unpleasant to say the least. Have surrounding other resident, it can't take care of themselves. Someone like to do bad things, bite you, all kinds of beaten by other resident. Not only the residents you got to look out for, the staff too, the ones that take care of us. Some of the staff wasn't very nice.
I know. I read some of the things that they had done to you.
Yeah, that was the most bitter part about all this whole thing. And what makes my stories amazing, I'm not bitter, cause I got a reason not to be. That's what's helping me to get the message out there, not to be bitter. I find a lot of these other people that have been through the same circumstances as I was, and a lot of them are very bitter. I try to help get some of those people I grew up with in Coldwater. They don't want to talk about it, and I can understand that. There's things I didn't want to go back down there with Sunday morning news CBS that took me down there, interview me, and then we had to go through. I had to endure all that, relive all that, and that was hard for me to do.
I'm sure. Is it difficult
I
talk?
got a sneeze.
Oh, you're okay.
And I have to endure all that to go down there. Live the only way I can get the story told, and I had to go through it. The hardest part when I had to go down there when Governor Milliken testify in front of all those staff, how that institution, the way they treated us residents, and they're always getting beaten by the staff all the time. Boy, Governor Milliken had launched a major investigation. A lot of changes had to be made. That was hard for me ever had to take on the system big time.
You took on the system big time.
Yeah, and then I was scared of my shoes. I didn't want to go down there, but Governor Milliken said I had to go along with him. I was on his right side. He made sure I was well protected to tell. And I made some changes. I changed the whole mental health system.
So going kind of back to your time in the home, you were there from the age of 6. And you were put into one specific cottage, right?
Yeah, Cottage 41, Ward 2.
What can you explain to me, or explain to the audience rather, what that cottage? Because I read your book, I know what it is.
Yeah.
Could you explain
well,
what that?
Going in there, you smell this odor bad and it stinks, and it's like being in it like an animal smell. People don't take care of themselves, and people go potty on the floor and all that. They're just unpleasant to see, witness all that. And I try to ignore that. I always hit off over the side and not to look at a lot of the stuff I endured. Make it easier to get sick. I was getting sick a lot.
Wow.
I always end up going to their hospital. Then I have I'd call it hepatitis down there because it's unsanitary. I told Governor Milliken all that, everything. Yeah, just amazing not being bitter from it, and what good came out of it.
A lot of good came out of it.
What my goal is, trying to get this from ever happen again around the country. What I'm trying to accomplish that, so that when need for any people, there's no more DD facility in Michigan. They help because they got those places closed. They only got the field MI facility left, and no more DD. I won the battle on that one. Really.
That's awesome. You're pretty persistent when it comes to things. So going back, your parents dropped you off, and you reading through your book, it seemed like you kind of wanted your parents to come back for you and take
Oh
you
yeah,
home.
I always ask. I either have them stamp nicer stamp, nicer stamps too. They have nicer lady stamp. They help me writing letters to my parents.
Okay.
I want to go home for good. Always
What
want.
what was their response?
Well, I never heard any back. See, a lot of time when you sent letters out to your parent, the institution, the cottage supervisor reads all the letter that they don't like what's in the letter. A lot of letters don't always get out.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and that's why my parents, I never had much contact with my parents. They'd send me birthday cards every year for my birthday, December 1st, take me out to pleasure, take me down to Max Restaurant. I always begged my dad I'd like to go home. I tried to tell him this place is not treating me very well.
What was his response to that?
He didn't want to hear it.
He didn't
trying
believe you?
to trying to cover it, sweep it under the rug.
Was he maybe did he think you were like exaggerating?
Yeah, and that was the most bitter part about it of all.
Was their
when
response?
My dad just don't want to hear me out. Don't want to hear the truth. What really going on in there? Sexual abuse, getting beaten by the staff all the time.
What was their reasoning for putting you in this home or in this
Because
facility?
with the slow learning disorderly, I couldn't be handled at home. And there was a bunch of two doctors, and one of the priests said, I cannot learn unaidable, ever learning that when you're different, that's the place you end up at. Back then, they didn't have community placement, special schooling for people with disability.
Right.
Back then, that's the place where parents send their disability child, daughter and son there. It was a lot of people was there, should never been there.
You're one of them.
Yeah, I'm one of them. They did high Q tests on me when I got older, got in 16 or 17 years old. They start testing my IQ, how if you're capable to learning.
And I think at first, reading through the book, that they kind of underestimated your knowledge and your abilities to
They sure did.
to learn and to take on daily tasks. And
Yeah, I had to learn to work my way up and got working on recreation staff. They have nice staff, like, and the recreation, and then giving me jobs. I either worked off ground, got transferred up on the line cottage, where I can start improving. Oh, yeah, and things have gotten better after the later years in the late in 69 and early 70s, 1970s.
Okay.
That's when I got put in the ESET Pro cottage called
Okay.
Cottage 21 with people already capable going on convalescent status, they call it.
Okay.
And I was sent to Grand Rapids, put into a group home, what they would call it, a halfway house.
That part of your life, I was extremely excited reading through that part of your book.
Yeah.
Because you were just at that point, you were so fed up with being in the facility, and you started proving to them that you're worth more. You can do so much more with your life.
What they think.
What they thought you could do.
See, what they
And-
use us as the working boys, it's a benefit to them. They're getting a paycheck. A resident never see a paycheck.
It's free labor.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And that's what it was like. You do the work the staff tells you to do. You don't, they can do really harm to you.
So during that time, you end up getting out of that facility and you go to a group home in Grand Rapids.
Right.
And
that's when a miracle began. Start turning my life around to be a free man, gain my freedom, independence. That was the day of my Independence Day.
how did you feel?
Oh, I feel like $1 million, man. That able to be away from incarceration I grew up with for 15 years. At age 6 to age 21, I was 21 years old when I got out. Boy.
That is crazy.
But the scary part about it, I had to went to a bigger city and never seen, and I got help. I had social worker looking over me, make sure I'm gonna make it.
Right.
I had some disagreements with some of the probation rules. I had to see a probation office every month with
This
that.
is madness. Hearing this, you talking about I got out of being incarcerated, I got out of essentially prison, and I had a probation officer to help you.
Yeah.
Like you're some criminal, like you did something.
I know. See, that's what it was like. Yeah, and then I learned the challenge that I had into the society, looked down on people that come out of places like that. They're not people like my family members with the scare of me at that time. My dad didn't want me. I know I gotta be careful what I say. Well, my parents not around, but I have a relationship with my siblings today.
Okay.
I made some improvement, and I got brother and sister that understanding me better now that they're taking a little time.
Well, the way that people looked on mental health back specifically in the 50s and 60s,
It was horrible. The general public don't have no clue. Places like this where they're incarcerating people because of their their disability.
right.
They what they call warehouse and discarded out of mind, out of sight. And that was the attitude of the public, the way to put these people away. Human warehousing. Yeah, boy.
People didn't look at people with mental health issues as people, right?
No, they didn't. They just look at us just like animals. People, yeah. And when you see that DVD, you're gonna see the reality what it's like growing up in those large sterile day room. That one of those DVDs was called Waiting for Home.
For people who are listening or watching, Richard put
Yeah.
together a packet of information of his time in the Coldwater home. And in this packet, I actually have yet to look inside of it. He put together a couple DVDs where they actually.
We went down there. I had to go to where that was the hard part when I had to go down there, walk through facility, Cottage 41, and that one there on the mental health educational exhibit, that's the latest one. And those two DVDs, that's one to me.
This is the one your book is about, right?
One in Coldwater, what the state, what those backwards looked like, was my parents never got to see. And that one there, at the Light of World story, tells about when John Snyder wrote the book. We went down there to Coldwater, and
I'm excited to watch those.
Amazing story. And I put together the history of mental health booklet.
Okay, right here. Open
Yeah.
the door to mental health.
Yeah, bring mental health out of the closet. That's what that. And I
Wow.
did a lot of work for celebrating mental health 125th anniversary.
Wow, that's truly amazing. You, after you got out, you were always kind of determined to prove everybody wrong. Everybody kind of told you were going to struggle. You need the assistance of your social worker.
Yeah.
You need to follow what they tell you, and
Yeah,
you were
and
just bound and determined to kind of create your own path.
Right.
And
I
you did.
I did. And my social worker ended up getting me a job working at Butterworth Hospital, kitchen, mopping floor. That's how I grew, gotten better, and made new friends there at Butterworth Hospital. And then I grew and gotten.
That story in your book, you talk about how you had the job at Butterworth and you were doing great. You I think were living on your own at that point, and then you kind of got a
Yeah,
roommate.
got my first room independent, living at the YMCA in
Yeah.
Grand Rapids. That's when I got my first color TV set at Foss's Joe. Oh, I tell you, I just couldn't wait to spend the money, have all this outside stuff I never had growing up. Look at where I am, boy. I tell
You
you.
just kind of went wild.
I went very wild. I got so far deep in debt and spend money like it growed on tree because I never have all this luxury when growing up. Never
Right.
had nothing given to me. Whatever with the state to buy the light around Christmas time, seeing other people get presents from their parents.
Hmm.
I never got much. Only just got a hard Christmas candy rolled up in a toilet
Wow.
paper tube. That's what the state to buy it for people that don't have nobody.
Wow.
Yeah, and never. The sad, the worst, bitter part about it, when other people got to go home, I never had. The people who were worse off got to go on vacation, and yeah, that was it's a bitter way to growing up when I just that the idea I just never had to love. That's what the whole idea why I spent so many years there, never got to go home.
I know I read in the book also that you had I think wrote a letter or you talked to your dad about wanting to come home for Christmas because all the other kids in the home got to go home for Christmas and but you weren't able to
Right.
and you asked.
Christmas holidays or Easter, never got to go. Well, my dad comes up once a year, sometimes not, most of the time not a year or not at all. They
Wow.
take me out to pleasure, take me down to restaurant, Max restaurant downtown Coldwater, and take me out for picnics downtown to some park. I remember that. And then they take me back. I did the hard part when I had to go back to
Right.
Cottage 41. Yeah, my dad did this one. As far as he was concerned, I was there for the rest of my natural life. They didn't either help got me out of there. The social worker of Cottage 21 had written letters to my dad
Trying to get you out.
and never got no response.
Wow.
They didn't want to be part of it. And my dad was so busy being a mayor of Granville at that time, so busy politicking,
Mhm.
and they just didn't want me in the way.
Wow.
That's well, that was, I found out a little bit about the truth. I got some of the information out of some of my brother and sister. Many of them didn't want to talk about it when my parents were still alive.
Oh.
'Cause my dad didn't want my brothers, my siblings, my brother and sisters, be any contact,
Really with you?
right? Talking to me or making any ways to make dad look bad.
Right.
And I found out the real truth why I was sent there when I got my institution records. That's how I got more information and I learned more as I went along. What really made me strong.
Now, at one point, while you're working at Butterworth, I think you kind of got in trouble, right?
Yeah,
Do you
and
want to talk about that a little bit?
I had stuff was given to me over the years. And the stuff they was throwing out, and I took it home, fixing it up, and I got moved into this one house, rental house with the roommate that works at Butterworth at the parking ramp attendant. And he was accusing me stealing stuff from the hospital, which I
Well, what had happened from me reading the book is that you were given a bunch of like furniture and stuff from the
Yeah.
hospital, and
well mainly cabinets.
right, and
What
you
did
would
you
fix them
really-
up. You would fix them up, and
Took them home. I have help taking them home
right,
from the staff.
and then they would let you borrow some of the tools too.
Yeah,
And-
they do yard work. And I always bring them back. I always
You
got
would-
a permission.
Right, and you would lock them up
Yeah.
at your house, right? So nobody would steal them.
Right.
And then you came home because you were gone for the weekend.
Yeah,
and
I went down to Coldwater visit, and then I
Okay.
found one of my cabinet was broken into, and then I knew who was since I said something about it, and I knew he was responsible for it. Then a few days later, then I had a prosecutor came to call me in the office. One of the personnel director said there's the warrant out for my, being questioned. Go through my house. And they accused. And then I lost my job. Later, the charges was dropped. I never got arrested or anything.
Oh, okay.
But the charges was dropped. And this was a bunch of other people that got in trouble too for helping me.
Oh, wow.
Because at that time I didn't know better, and I thought I was doing the right thing.
Right.
And
So at that
then
point,
I went to Detroit, and I knew some people there at the Detroit Film Club that took me under their wing.
that was after you had went to your parents. You stayed with your parents for a little while, right?
Yeah, a little while.
And then at that point, you kind of heard them talking about putting you back into like
That's when I got
some
up,
sort of home, right?
got up the middle of the night, and
You woke up in the middle of the night and you're like,
and
screw this.
I
I'm
was,
out.
and I just took the cab, went downtown Grand Rapids to the bus station. They got a bus. I knew I see some lights entering into the tunnel to get me out underneath this, what Dad was trying to do.
So did
And-
you, at the point when you went and bought a ticket to Detroit,
Yeah,
Did
one way ticket to
did you have a
Detroit.
plan? Did you have a plan when you got to
Well,
Detroit, what
I-
you're going to do? Or?
Yeah, well, I tried to get a job at the Renaissance Center when it was first being built.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I tried to seek life and fortunes, trying to make it in Detroit, but it didn't pan out very well when I found out. Living with the Detroit Film Collective, they had their own life to live, and they didn't. I didn't care about the lifestyle that they lived. It wasn't for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you heard about marijuana and all that. And I just wasn't into the kind of lifestyle they lived,
Right.
because that was kind of the setting I was not raised.
Right.
You know, it's a miracle I had that guardian angel was with me every step of the way, telling me to give me the knowledge from the Holy Spirit, directing me how to way to go, what path to live my life, and I followed that path. I have the knowledge. I got a knowledge. It's amazing, and I can see the miracle I gotta get. I can see through people what is suitable for me and not suitable for me. That's how I.
Well, you kind of, because of living in the Coldwater, I think, in my opinion, you living in such a terrible situation. You growing up in such a terrible
And
situation, it's kind of taught you, like, who's a genuine person, who's not, and who's
Exactly.
going to help you and who's not. And
Exactly.
you've kind of learned how to, like you said, read people.
Right, and
Right.
that's how I have a knowledge, understand about people thinking and how they react. You know, I made a lot of new friends. You know, they have old friends and pass on and make new friends.
Well, you're a new friend of mine.
Well, I look at you like another brother, and I think God's got plans for my life. And he's not done with me yet. And I want to, the whole purpose of what I'm trying to do, bring other people out of the closet. Yeah, because we're all human. God created us, all of us, in his image. And I respect the person with a disability or not disability. And I just had love in those people. You're looking at a human being. It's just heartbreaking. See, those people haven't born right, disabled or brain damaged. You know, that's the way they were born. You know, and I know God's gonna make everything perfect. That one day is coming. There won't be no more disability. There won't be no more sickening. And not able to read or write. It's amazing how I can got the knowledge in the mind. I got a special mind God had placed in me. I thank God every day. I'm trying to be a strong believer, and I stand by our Creator every day.
Well, you are definitely strong, and you're persistent. Because reading through your book, you talk about how so after you've come back from Detroit, you went to California for a bit. You came back.
When I left Detroit, I went to Ipsy.
Oh yeah, that's
Then
right.
got hooked
That's
up with another longtime friend, the Dohertys, and I kind of being taken advantage of by them, and that didn't turn out too good. I ended up getting an apartment about 2 miles from the Ypsilanti State Hospital. He helped me got a job there that was more for his benefit. He would charge me rent, living in the basement, using me for his house, do all the work around the house, which his wife don't want to do. This used me this the way I was being used in Coldwater, but it was more as a benefit to learn more about the outside world. How he helped me learn how to cook. I watched somebody else how to cook.
You met him at Coldwater, right?
Yeah, he used to work at Coldwater. He was part of the Cottage 42 principal director, in charge of the program that one that really did help got us out of Cottage 41 into their 42 program, Cottage 42.
Okay.
And that's when things are gotten better and had more education, and
So you felt that he was trying to help you at that point.
right at that time.
But then when you went to go live with him, it wasn't like that. He
No,
took advantage.
And then when I understand he gotten hooked on this crack marijuana stuff, and I did something in my mind. I had to vacate from that house. Something tell me in my mind, think the Holy Spirit said, this place is not right for me. I see it wasn't right for me. So I got help from somebody at the Ypsilanti State Hospital in the Sea Kitchen to help me find a place nearby in walking distance. So,
And it was 2 miles away.
yeah.
You'd have to walk both ways every single day.
Well, a lot of times I get a ride home.
Okay.
Sometimes we get picked up if I can get the staff cooperate. The work help me. I made some new friends at Ipsy, and I was there for a year.
Okay.
And then I took off, went to Los Angeles for a while, trying to seek my fortune there. Boy, I experienced
Trying to make it big.
yeah, and I had some scaring experience about their people don't speak a kind of language. I was got to scare my shoe. What kind of world was this? People don't understand English around here, and they're trying to get a job at the Bonaventure Hotel, and then and I went up to the restaurant. They asked for help. What's going on? I need how I can get a job. And that one guy wouldn't speak the way I speak. I told him, can you speak English? And he got kind of mad. I couldn't understand what he's saying. And I was assuming most people in Los Angeles are Spanish. It's a learning experience I learned there. And I ran into some people. It was hard to make it there not knowing anybody.
And then on top of it, you also didn't know how to read and write,
Yeah,
right? So
right.
like trying to find your way around had to be difficult and
Right.
read signs.
And now, then something else went through my mind. Richard, when you got enough money, better get your butt back to Michigan. So something that tells me then, from the Holy Spirit, I always have a guardian angel that's telling me I need to get back to Michigan. Los Angeles was a right for me there. So I went back to Michigan and ended up getting a job at Coldwater, working. They got to help there. I was
What made you want to go back to Coldwater
that
out of all places?
well, with downtown,
Okay.
the city of Coldwater, just because that's the only place I knew I grew up. I know I could get help,
Okay.
and I went to the church down there called Church of Christ. That's how I got known. Somebody they helped got me a job at the water factory for a while until they helped me got a job working at Essex
Okay.
Plastic and Metal. You will see that in that folder about me working at it. About my whole story, how I grew up down there, how I got where I'm at. So that folder, yeah, take that folder out and you will see.
This one right here.
Yeah, that
light,
one,
this
that
one?
right there. And look at the part that's about my growing up in Coldwater. Right, I think it's right after the Governor of Milliken press conference when the book got published. Yeah, right. Yeah, right there. Yeah, I think.
Okay.
Oh, right. Okay, right there's the beginning of it. And I thought that might
This is
really
an article from the Coldwater Daily Reporter.
Coldwater Daily Reporter.
Wow.
Thought that might be able to help you out a lot
Yeah.
to tell the story. And
I'll
here,
have to-
the next page, Richard grows up. There's my job work there when I was working at FC.
Look at you. You're a good-looking young dude.
Yeah,
Strapping.
I've been busted, and then they laid me off just because I cost in Coldwater a major big black eye because I gotten a lot of publicity about the institution, and I'm trying to fight to save the old administration building and make it into a Michigan statewide mental health.
That's kind of
museum.
when you became a little famous in Michigan, right?
Oh yeah, boy, I got Coldwater. Everybody in the plant was all shook up, scared. I'm making too many waves, and one of the staff told me I better shut up, quit making too many waves.
Because a lot of people in Coldwater worked at that facility,
Yeah.
or they had family members that were in the facility,
Right, and
they didn't want you kind of making waves.
Yeah, and they tried to shut me up. I contacted Representative Nick Smith in that area, and I sent a letter to Governor Milliken. I think there's a copy of the letter I sent to Milliken that's in there. But anyway, boy, it's everything one after another keep going through my head. How to sort everything out. Boy, it's a miracle I had a guardian angel really help me right along. To get through this indoor threat I've been facing, and there's a staff chasing me around the fairground. Every year I go to Branch County Fair.
Okay.
And I was being threatened by one of the staff wanna work me over.
Wow.
He was mad because I cost everybody. See, 95 people were dismissed from that place.
Wow.
Anybody worked more than 10 years or over had to be let go. And that was the hardest part I ever had to take on big time, because I had to go down there testify, a witness of all.
Did anybody get into legal trouble on some of the things
Well,
that happened?
Well, it was under the state of the Department of Mental Health. Milliken had a major investigation went on to help
Right.
to change the system, and they had to hire all new staff.
Wow.
Made a lot of changes down there. Not only that, they helped close down the Plymouth Center.
What is the Plymouth Center?
They have a resident, what they call another institution similar like Coldwater.
Okay.
That was either worse. They have staff beating resident with chains.
Wow.
That was made it in the Detroit Free Press, and I had a big write-up in the Detroit Free Press about what happened to me in Coldwater. And so it was a similar situation, but I was having a belt taken to me by one of the staff. Yeah, I had the knee to the stomach. The man Well, I hope your emotion very strong.
Your emotions have to be
But you
extremely
wanna
strong.
you wanna know the truth. You got it.
Yeah, I have it all right here. Again, I'm gonna plug your book again. If you want to know Richard's whole story, like almost cried reading this book. It's so sad. Um, so at that point, you're in Coldwater. You start kind of getting some publicity from the media,
From the
and
Coldwater Daily Reporter. That's when and then I got a interview with 16 TV from Coldwater radio station interviewed me about the old administration building, saving it from demolition and
can you explain what you wanted to do with the administration building?
turning into Michigan Statewide Mental Health Museum, picking the history of the agency history. I did a lot of research. That's when it was a state public school for the independent neglected children,
Wow.
May 1874. Yeah, May
Wow.
1874,
Wow.
when the school opened up for orphanage children. Yeah, and it's amazing how much I learned about that. I always knew it was an orphanage. They started out with an orphanage.
How did you do all this research?
Through the state archive and the Branch County Library. I did a lot of research. Took 2 years to research all this.
Did you have people read things to you?
Yeah, oh yeah, that's how I accomplished it. Had people help me read it. I had a minister friend I ran into that took me under his wing to read, helped me with writing all these letters, and
Oh, wow.
it's just a miracle I got connected to the right people want to help me cry out how do I can turn this whole system around to make it more acceptable to help people.
Right.
Yeah.
So was your goal to kind of have this the Coldwater home shut down completely? Was that your goal, or was your goal to kind of change the system?
Well, the more might change the system and get better programs is going to help people, not warehousing them.
Right.
And help. There was people up on the line cottages never did belong there in the first place. It was smarter than I was, real high grade.
Were they like troublemakers, like just
they
troubled
have
kids?
like smart alecks, so like make don't like you, and don't hard. Some of those residents are hard to get along with. I make friends with some of them. Some of them do bad stuff to you, like sexual abuse you, like have sex with you and all that. That's
Or rape you?
yeah, oh yeah. I told Governor Milliken that, boy, and he just don't know how to endure all that. He just couldn't believe it. Well, it was in God's hand to look at how do I come out of it the way I did when it.
Right. So you started again. You making waves. You got publicity from the media. You got the attention of the governor, Governor Mulliken.
Yeah, and that's what led me come to Lansing. Nick Smith said I had to come to Lansing to introduce me to the governor.
So you then moved to Lansing.
Yeah, and got the room at the YMCA.
Okay.
And next day, I have a big stacks of paper from Coldwater. Took it over the Lansing State Journal. That's how I met John Snyder. And he's been doing a lot of writing about me ever since then.
Well, you're kind of like a celebrity here in Michigan, or at least you were at one point.
Oh yeah, I know. And then made it in Detroit Free Press. Paul Magnuson did a big write-up on me. I just had the world in my hands, and thank from God I have led me to the right people. That ain't what you know.
It's
who do you know?
Right.
I learned that along the way. What helped me, got me where I'm at. Know the right people.
So when you move to Lansing, they give you a job. They create a job specifically for you.
I started out with a temporary job at the janitor at the Lewis Katz building, and then after 6 months, Nick Smith called the Department of Community, called Michigan Department of Mental Health Director to call me upstairs. The governor needs to talk to you. And I got to say, oh, what I'm doing now. And the director of the Department of Mental Health walked me over to the governor's office. And Governor Neat wanted, I was in there over about an hour and a half, and going through all these files, all the records, and tell him everything that happened. That's why when Milliken took me under his wing, want to help me.
Because he felt that you were kind of owed something, right? Because of all the things you had to endure at Coldwater.
I could sue the state $15 million.
Wow.
But I didn't think it ain't the money. It ain't the money. It's about seeking change for the better, helping other human life that don't go through what I went through.
That's incredible.
Got the third lifetime job out of it.
Mm-hmm.
I got that out of it. That means more.
And on top of it, you helped so many people.
Yeah, that means more than the money. Money, not everything.
Right.
But they say money rule all evil. What would benefit me? That wouldn't have got me nowhere.
You probably wouldn't have accomplished the things that you wanted to accomplish.
Right. So I had accomplished a lot. Now maybe the money will come later. I'm trying to win the publishing sweepstake. I'm sending sweepstakes. I've been trying to win money, but good thing it's gonna come my way. I just have to.
Well, I mean, even if it's not money, I mean, like I've said, you've helped so many people. I mean, that's far greater than anything that you could win.
I think that's probably what you're doing. You're probably waking things up again.
I hope so.
And hopefully I will accomplish. And when all these other people that are coming forward, all the subject, think there are people interested in ordering my book from Amazon. And I always thought anybody can get my book. They have to get them through me from Ehrman's. And I don't know how Amazon got a hold of my book, selling my book. They might have maybe it might have something to do with John Snyder.
Possibly.
Maybe send a message to Ehrman, the way to get my book, I think.
Is Ehrman the publication?
Ehrman's probably selling my book to Amazon. I just wonder how Amazon got involved. But that's okay.
That's one of the greatest platforms that we have today is Amazon. So the fact that you can get this on Amazon is amazing.
Yeah.
Because anybody in the world can order your book.
All over the country.
All over the country, all over the world.
All over the world?
Yeah, it's all over the world. Any country that offers Amazon.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought it was just around the country, United States.
No, I'm pretty sure it's all over the world. Amazon's all over the world, right?
Yeah, pretty sure.
Boy, it's amazing. Well, hey, I welcome Amazon. I would sell them for $20 because I need the money. Well, it's $2 more. Amazon selling them for $18, and I'm selling them for. See, I got a whole bunch of books still in the basement of my home.
Well, the thing is if they order from you specifically, it comes with an autograph, right?
Yeah.
So it's worth the $2.
Is that an autograph book?
It's not. No, I want it to be.
You will get that autograph from me. Promise you when we get done here.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, I know. I will autograph it for you. Yeah. I just what's so really strange about Lynette Doherty's daughter, happened to call me. It's amazing how people can get my phone number or know where I live, how to contact me.
Yeah.
She either ordered a book.
Wow.
I was shocked. I couldn't believe it. Jerry Doherty's daughter, but I got, last time I seen her when she was this little brat girl, well, they're always tormenting me, the way kids act these days.
Right.
It's amazing. And they both have Tracy and Lynette. And they have Amy, one of their daughters, had died because of heart condition. And I asked her how the Doherty's doing. They said their mom, Claudia Doherty, had passed away, had lung cancer, and told me Jerry Doherty moved to Arizona. And she more interesting than my either. She just can't imagine how far I had came since they know me living with them when they were young. I might be interested seeing Lynette Doherty. Yeah, they live in Delaware, and Tracy lives in New Jersey.
Okay. Well, maybe they'll hear this and they'll try to reconnect with you.
They did.
Oh, they did.
Lynette Doherty had called me.
Oh, wow.
And they just don't know how they just see that they can get my phone number on mine.
Right.
I'm on the internet. That's how people can know where I live. I am my
Don't know if
friend
that's a good thing.
Manfred. We went when Manfred was here in town over about a month and a half ago. He told me, we go to Google, everybody knows who I am.
Yeah.
Oh, there's nothing secret about me.
It's because you're a celebrity.
Yeah.
You're a famous person.
I know. I'm starting to realize that now. Well, that's okay if it's gonna get the story told. That's the way they have to look at it.
Right.
And I just leave everything in God's hand. Continue to do good for people, and because I got that, always got the loving, holy heart in me, and always had.
So, again, kind of going back, you were quite an advocate for this museum, and it never took off because the building was kind of outdated and cost too much money to restore it.
Yeah, that was the reason. And then the committee to show Traverse City was the site. Of course, it never got off the ground because a lot of political politics in the system.
Right.
They're trying to change the system. It's not easy.
No, you got to do it step by step, and it just takes forever for each step.
Right, and then we scale it down with a mental health educational exhibit, which you're gonna see a DVD on that.
Oh, the DVD. This one right here.
On the mental health educational exhibit when me and Manfred tried to put together,
Okay.
and that didn't pan out either.
You traveled around though, doing this exhibit,
I
right?
I went on the East Coast, did radio, talk show, so I'm used to this kind of stuff.
You're good at it.
Now I really gotta try and hopefully what your interview today is gonna help build this back up.
I hope so.
To get the message out there where I like to see this whole thing go, 'cause God's not done with me yet. I can see that right now.
So instead of doing a museum exhibit and the traveling exhibit, you had like a memorial put in place where the administration building used to be in Coldwater, right?
Oh yeah, I had a mark that was done 1981.
Okay.
I was involved with the International Year of Disabled Person.
Wow.
And I got a big award, got a plaque under my name.
That's
down
awesome.
there, and it helped to be able to set an example to keep that rich history of that agency alive when it started out at the State Public School, 1874, and then I think in 19. Well, it goes in. They start out with state public school for the independent and neglected children. Then it came the Michigan Children's Village, and in 1939, that's when it came to Coldwater State Home and Training School.
Okay.
And then later, in early 70s, it came to the Coldwater Regional Center for the Developmental Disability. That's when, in 1981, when I got a historical marker down there.
Okay. Is it still there today?
As far as I know, it is. I like go down there see how things are down there.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I've been down there. I don't think it'll be any problem going down there now. Most people probably
But don't know who you are.
not around.
Right.
It's been so long.
Did you avoid going back to Coldwater because you were scared for your safety? Or?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Governor Milliken wouldn't let me out his sight. I want to go downtown visit some of my friends. And Governor State Trooper told me, Richard, that we need to have you. Governor wants you down here in the conference room. He wouldn't. I had to. I was on his right hand side. And I had a testimony from all those administrative staff. Boy, I was scared of my shoes. That's when I really had God with me that day, really facing the reality what I'm about to do to that system, the whole mental health system. The director of the department was there, Nick Smith, a couple people from the state legislature was there, and all the governors and his staff was there.
Your story is single-handedly responsible for changing the system.
Yeah, I really did good. That it was a job well done, and that's why they need me in the system to get things done, to get to know the right people.
Well, you're persistent too. Like I said earlier, whatever you wanted to accomplish, that's what you had your mind on, and you were doing.
Oh yeah,
that.
That's how I did.
That was it.
I didn't give up hope. It was discouraging time to time, but patience pays off. I just figured, look at what Jesus went through when he was on earth, 33 and a half years. He trying to change the system, change the whole human mankind from their sins. I can't imagine place myself in Jesus' footsteps. Can't imagine what that was like to appear to, I made a lot of enemies. A lot of state workers didn't like me because they were afraid of me. A supervisor didn't treat me with respect. They know they can't do anything to me.
Right.
Because I was protected 30 years.
Right.
Protected under the contract was made up between Milliken and Dr. Akbar, the director at that time.
Okay.
They took me down to personnel, and personnel just couldn't believe how Akbar told personnel, you got to fill the paperwork out for this gentleman. He starts tomorrow in the mailroom, and it was orders by governor. Boy, they really jumped. It's never happened before. I didn't have to go through civil services. Everybody goes through civil services, get hired into the state, but this was classification was made for me. The personnel had to do all the paperwork for me and send it over to civil service.
Okay.
This was orders by Governor Milliken.
That's special. That's real special.
That's what they call special worker.
Okay.
Yeah.
So during this time, you've kind of, like I said, you've gotten a lot of publicity. You're famous. You're working with the governor of Michigan, and you are changing.
Have a friendly relationship with Governor Blanchard. Got to know me.
You've met 4 different governors.
Yeah. Granholm. I retired under Granholm.
Okay. So during this time, you, like I've said, you've became famous. Essentially, you're working with all these governors.
I'm more famous. I'm really realized.
You are. And you're.
But that's not what I'm all about.
No. It just happened by circumstance.
It just happened by accident.
Right. But what I'm saying is that you kind of got all this attention, and you changed the mental health system.
Oh, I sure
and
did.
Your parents kind of had like a thought where you should have just been in this home. You shouldn't have made any waves. You should have just been kind of tucked away. What was their response
That's
to?
what it was. They trying to stop the book from getting published.
Wow.
But it was too late. The job was already finished. Already getting out there when Governor Engler, they did a press conference. You read that press conference from John Engler. He did a really great job. Yeah, it's amazing
So
how I educate 4 governors. Boy.
so did your parents kind of acknowledge the fact that you were successful, and were they ever proud of you?
They didn't want to talk about it.
They didn't want to talk about it.
They were totally against the book.
Wow.
Yeah.
So did you ever acquire a relationship with them?
I can understand their side of it because it's guilt.
Right, it's guilt.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
make the family, make them look bad.
Right.
See, they wasn't expecting this was ever gonna happen.
Or
They just want to get this. My dad told me when I got together with him, they said I should forget it. I'm out of there now. Should put that. It's easy for him to say,
right.
but it wasn't easy for me to say what I endured. He didn't have no clue.
He didn't live it. You had to live
He-
it every day.
Oh, you got that right, man.
Every day was a fight, was a struggle
Oh, it's
for
like, but it's
for
like
15 years.
it's like being in prison. You gotta defend yourself.
And you're a kid. You're 6 years old,
You know.
and you got to learn this whole new system. You're in prison, like you said.
Yeah, especially being in Cottage 19. They have a staff to beat you left from right, throw you in the brig. I was thrown in the brig many times, and not wearing.
What is that?
having
Is
no,
that like solitary confinement?
Yeah, I was under solitary confinement. No clothes to wear.
Wow.
Just a blanket on the hard tragic floor.
So, did you ever, after your book came out, and obviously your parents tried stopping it because they weren't happy about
Well,
it.
one of my brothers launched the book being stopped
Oh wow.
from getting published, and wrote Engler a nasty letter, and then Engler wrote back to one of my brothers said, Engler told him, I'm not the bad guys that they think I was, and they didn't know, they didn't know what, though I was just making all this up, but
Right.
I wasn't making. They just did. I was making the family looking bad, and
Right.
kind of upset. But
Did-
but I got over all that now behind me now.
Right. You're not bitter at all.
No.
Did
and
you-
I think they're starting to understanding now me better after the book been out for a while.
Okay.
And they start to seeing I had a good relationship with one of my sister in the Grand Rapids area.
So the result of this is everything worked out fine with your family. You have a
Yeah.
better relationship with them now.
Oh yeah. I forgave everything what their thinking was. That's all behind. I rised above that.
You did rise above it. That's
Yeah.
a little plug for my podcast.
Well, I think the reason why I'm closer to my siblings now, because mom and dad not around, not defending mom and dad.
Right.
That made them, because dad,
How many
Mom.
siblings did you have?
I did had 11 of us.
Okay.
Did have 7 brothers and 3 sisters, but 4 siblings passed on. So I got 4 brothers and 2 sisters now.
Okay. Wow.
Came from the big family. That was part of the reason why with Dad's excuse why I could never go home, because they had too many kids at home to take care of. That was their excuse, not that able to go home.
Right.
I don't know what their thinking is at that time, but it didn't help me. Never got to go home on Christmas and holidays and weekends like everybody else got to go home.
That's sad. So
Because that was the most bitter part of all.
is the fact that you could never go home because
Right.
you probably felt like you weren't
Because
wanted.
a lot of it, I just never had the love. That
Right.
was part of it right there. And then raising other children at home top of that.
Right. And they had other kids after you. After they had put you in the
Yeah,
in the home.
what's 5 of us I was living in Jenison at the time, and Cappy was the last one. A year before her was Mitch, Pam, and Terry, and I and Cappy, with 5 of us.
So you had other siblings that you hadn't even met
No,
when you were
was
in the
born
home.
after I was incarcerated.
Wow. That is crazy.
Yeah.
Richard, you've lived a crazy life.
Well, I'm doing good today, though.
You are. You've
and
gone
I'm-
from the trenches to being a celebrity,
Now
essentially.
read that letter from Engler to me. That letter, that press conference
You
there.
want me to read it right now?
Yeah.
Where's
Yeah.
it at? Is it in this
right
book?
That's right underneath. Yeah. Right there, in the first page.
Oop.
Yeah, read that. No, well, yeah, read that one. That's the page 1.
This whole thing?
Yeah.
Okay. Says, it was my pleasure to be here today to... First off, this is from Governor Engler.
Right.
Okay. Says, it is my pleasure to be here today to share with you an amazing story that has needed to be told for years. It's the story of hope, determination, and strength of the human spirit. Waiting for a Home, which is his book, is the true story of Richard Prangley, a man who was unjustly institutionalized for 15 years, yet has managed to become not only a productive citizen, but also an effective advocate for the developmentally disabled. Richard has spent his life working to change the system and working for community placement. You see, doctors recommended that Richard be placed in the Coldwater State Home and Training Center at the age of 6. They classified him as a high-grade imbecile and left him there for 15 years. From the age of 6 until he was 21, he never even had an address to call his own. He simply lived in a numbered building like Cottage 41. 15 years and nothing to call your own. I think if what happened to Richard had happened to any one of us, we'd have left Coldwater bitter and angry. Not Richard Prangley. He left determined to make sure that what happened to him would not happen to anyone else ever again.
That was the whole purpose with the museum idea.
Was that you can create knowledge and information about the
Better
history that had happened
understanding,
there.
Better treatment for into the 21st century, how far we had came.
Okay. Along the way, Richard has met a lot of people who have become big fans of his. Congressman Nick Smith, former Governor William Milliken, former Governor Jim Blanchard, former Director of the Department of Mental Health Pat Babcock, Jim Haveman, and myself, to name a few. Over the years, Richard led the initiative for the Mental Health Museum and innovative educational efforts so people can learn from his experience. Richard's story confirms the policy of community placement is the right thing to do, and the old practice of warehousing. Individuals and institutions can never be allowed to happen again.
Because I went down there, I had to go down there testify. And boy, I was scared of my shoes. That's when I was in God's hand that day.
I imagine you had to speak in front of a bunch of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it wasn't very nice to me. Give me dirty look, man.
Richard knew community placement was the right thing to do, not because a person with academic degrees told him so, but because he lived it. He experienced it, and the lessons he teaches us about compassion and understanding proves to us all that we are doing the right thing. I had the pleasure on June 20th, 1995, of declaring it Richard Prangley Day in Michigan. This was Richard's 15th anniversary of working for the state, and we celebrated the moment Richard worked for us, the state, 1 minute longer than he had spent in Coldwater. When John Snyder so skillfully chronicled Richard's story and Erdman's Publishing of Grand Rapids printed the book, they made it possible for it to be Richard Prangley Day every day. Richard isn't the type of person who takes no for an answer. You're not.
That's how I able to work my way out of that place.
Right. He has made every positive thing happen in his life through sheer will and determination. Every day he puts our work into perspective, and he is what our work here is all about. Richard is quoted in the book as saying, "I want to educate people. That's my goal. I want to show them that people with developmental disabilities are human beings too. They have rights too, and they have something to contribute to society." We all can learn a great deal from Richard Prangley. His wisdom reaches far beyond books and degrees. His story teaches us teach us all that there is no obstacle we can't overcome, no goal that is out of reach, no reason to be afraid of people who are a little different from you. As governor, I've had the honor to meet many wonderful people, but when I met Richard, I knew I would be a better person for knowing him. His unfailing love and sincerity energizes you and makes you appreciate every moment of life. I want to thank John Snyder for telling this wonderful story and for Erdman's Publishing for printing it. Most of all, I want to thank Richard for teaching us life's most important lessons. Now I'd like to bring Richard to the microphone to say a few words.
Yeah, and that's when
you testified.
Yeah, that is amazing. Yeah, that's the story I want you to help me to get out. Yeah.
The story of
you just read. Yeah, it really gets in there to the whole purpose of me, how I got been blessed by meeting 4 governors. How many people can say that?
Right. And I find it truly amazing that you came from essentially nothing. I mean, you were in this situation where you were institutionalized, and all cards that were stacked were against you. And because of your determination, willpower, you didn't give up, and you just kept going and going and going.
That was the whole idea, not to give up.
You didn't care about anything. You didn't care about your money. You didn't care if you had. You didn't care about being rich. You
money
just wanted.
wasn't my answer.
Your life goal was to just change the system.
Right.
And you accomplished that.
And I did. Yeah. Well, it helps me in the long run. Look at who knows what's going to come out, where it's going to go from here now.
Right.
And now, with me being the advocate for God now, but beyond half of His Son, I'm taking on a big challenge now. I'm dealing with all walks of life.
I'm sorry, my cameraman here has to take off. He has to go to work. So you can just go whatever way is easier, Mike. Thanks. So what are you doing these days? You're retired?
Yeah, I'm retired, and I'm working on a project for our Creator through the Holy Spirit commending me. I'm getting ready to work on the Apostle Code on the Holy Spirit.
Okay.
Getting ready to put a 3 or 4 page proposal together to how to bring people closer to God, understand the nature of God's holiness, how the Holy Spirit moves in people's hearts. So that's what I'm getting ready to do now. I just got through finishing up the pamphlet.
Okay.
51-page pamphlet.
Wow.
Goes out. When I see you again, when we get past this, let's get this done, and I'll bring you in to the advocate, all the creation stuff from our Creator.
Okay.
And why Jesus came here for in the first place, to save us, redeem us from all mankind from their sins. So I wanted to try to keep both separate.
Okay.
Do one thing at a time. That's why I want to let you know there's more yet you haven't heard yet.
Okay.
I'm not over. I'm not done with you yet. Wait till you're here and see all the rest of the stuff I had down the basement of my home. I'll have you come in down in the basement and go through all this.
Okay. Well, Richard, wrapping this up, I think it's incredible again that you've gone through, you lived this terrible incarcerated life, and then
And I rose
and
above it.
you rose above it
Yeah.
completely. You're the prime example of somebody rising above tragic situations, and it's more than just tragic. It's horrifying the conditions that you were given. Um, However, you still have obviously a passion to teach people, and whether it's about mental health or religion, you still have that passion. And
Yeah, that is the biggest challenge in the getting in about being an advocate for our Creator, beyond to have His Son. That is the biggest challenge right there. Everything I touch is always the challenge. But it's a miracle I got a Holy Spirit directed me through my back of my mind, tell me what to put
Mhm.
in the testimony letters, whatnot. It's a lot. It's a lot of work, and it take again. I need to get a new Bible tutor, and that's what I'm working on now.
Well, let's put that out there. You're looking for somebody who can tutor you and read the Bible to you.
Yeah, yeah,
And-
and do Bible study. Well, every weekend I do Bible study. Last night I did Bible study
Okay.
On the Book of Revelation.
Okay.
So I'm working on that. I do Bible studies every weekend. I had DVDs. I listen to these Christian TV network like TCT.
Okay.
And I'm just learning. I'm getting stronger more every day because the Holy Spirit commended me more jobs to do, and then I'm trying to carry that out. And
Right.
and it takes a lot of patience too. And again, I need help with this stuff. Not able to read the Bible. See,
Right.
that's my biggest drawback. Not able to read or write. But I got. Like I say, Jesus said, if you got ears, let him hear. When you got eyes, let him see. So, it's the knowledge I got. I really thank for the gift from God. I can be able to go beyond the mental health. See, since January year 2010, that's when the legacy of mental health, I had put that legacy behind me, and I
Right.
got a new legacy that when I came up with the idea, doing a research history on Jesus' life, because I'm building a library on history, Jesus' life, the time he spent on earth. 33 and a half years. Upstairs in my house is going to be everything all about God's creation, about Jesus' life, about how the Holy Spirit. So I'm in the middle of putting all that together.
Okay.
I got about our space system, about our solar. Oh, it is amazing, isn't it?
You're obviously real excited about being able to teach other people this. So to put it out there, if somebody in the Lansing, Michigan area wants to help Richard out and do Bible studies with him,
Yeah, I am
please-
looking for a new Bible tutor. Please help me with that.
please reach out.
I'm trying to get Mitch Bain to help me. I get people from Seventh Day Adventist Church. I'm having a hard time getting help from that church. People don't want to they're so busy with their busy schedule, and it's frustrating to me. I need somebody, I need somebody to replace Alan Williams, because he got incarcerated, was sent to jail for about a year and 5 months at Eaton County Jail, and that took a lot out of me when God gave him to me to help me. It wasn't from him. I wouldn't have got this big creation binder, this thick, 5-inch thick. Took 2.5 years, put this all to research everything. I went,
Wow.
what the really most experience I went when I went down to Holy Land Experience, and I went in this Jesus tomb, the make believe, the scale model of Jesus tomb, and I have a prayer shawl, and I was praying to God, talk to God about, and there was other people went by there past his tomb, and there's a guy in there talking to himself, covering his head. And then my sister was down there with me, and my sister said, "That's my brother just praying, talking to God." And that guy said, "Wish everybody would did that." And then when I got done praying, talking to the God, and then I walked out there and I got an Easter card that shows I walked out of the tomb, raised my hand the highest in the high heaven. Oh, I had experienced a blessing. This went through my body from the top of my head all the way down,
That's
and
crazy.
then led me over to the tabernacle, and that's when I had an experience. I was in the hands of God, the power of God's hand, and I was touched forever. And that's when, my whole life had changed forever. And that's how I got, since year 2010, that's when I began doing, and I came to church the Seventh-day Adventist.
Okay.
Go to the church. They do a lot of Bible study, and they do a lot of work, classes about Revelation, about all kinds of stuff I learned. I went to seminars and learned. I had to take classes for 2.5 years, take classes to learn about all the stuff I got now. I got more knowledge of my life I ever.
Well, you're a student of life for sure.
Yeah.
Richard, I have to go to the bathroom really bad.
Yeah. Okay.
So let's wrap this up. Richard, again, it's been a true honor to sit here and talk to you.
Yeah, my pleasure to meet you, Dave.
It's my pleasure.
Yeah.
I look forward to looking through some of this stuff and finishing your book. I haven't finished it yet, but
take your time at
for
it.
anybody who wants to get a hold of his book, you can order on Amazon. It's called Waiting for a Home, the Richard Prangley story. It's on Amazon for $20 or $18, something like that. But
$18 from Amazon and $20 from me.
From you, and if they want it from you, they can get a hold of me. They can get a hold of you.
So let me sign that book.
And it's $20, and he'll sign it for you.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have a pen.
I don't have one either. I have one upstairs. I'll
okay.
I can get it after this.
Oh, okay.
So it's been a true honor, Richard. Thank you for coming on the Rising Above podcast.
My pleasure, David.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.